Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for our Tops episode. We got theories, we got opinions, we got predictions, we got some speculation going on. Obviously, our main topic today is going to be Ahsoka episode 8. I am joined by the one and only world traveler himself. Jack, where are you and where are you headed this time?
Luckily, I'm in Wales, but I'm going to be flying out tomorrow to Houston, Texas.
Boo.
Yeah, and then after that, I'm going to be flying out to Belize.
All right, man. This guy's all over the place. And we have a very special guest. We got Brandon from Clan Brandalorian. How's it going, man? Welcome.
Man, thank you. Thanks for having me on, guys. Good to finally get into touch with some other Star Wars fans. And Jimmy, he's just an hour down the road from me. Didn't know there was this many Star Wars fans just right in my little area. But yeah, just hanging out today. Finally got a good win for my football team. We really needed it. I needed it mentally. But yeah, just on here to join you guys. And once again, thank you for the invite.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your Star Wars background, man. Like, how did you get into it, or like favorite movie, anything. Tell us, give our listeners a little tidbit of.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I grew up. I remember getting a Phantom Menace book and a Jar Jar Binks plushie when I was about 2 years old. I do need to find those pictures and share those at some point. But my dad really got me into Star Wars. He's a huge astrology nerd and geek. So, I mean, I'm definitely more of a Star Wars guy than Star Trek. So I like to gravitate everything space and astronomically into the Star Wars universe. So, but yeah, I mean, I've been watching it since I was a kid, and it's definitely one of those things I kind of kept to myself growing up. I was definitely into sports, and you don't want to know a sports guy who just likes to nerd out with Star Wars or something. So I always kept it to myself. But now,
I can relate to
that. Now I'm a married man with my wife starting me off with the Boba Fett Lego helmet, and as you can see a little bit behind me, it's getting really bad. So we definitely are into the Legos and Funkos collection wise, but
yeah,
I mean, all across the board. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, because that's kind of how you got started, right? Like some of your first videos that I've seen on YouTube were you collecting Funkos and collecting Legos, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Very
And
cool.
it's really cool because the Salina's big enough. We have a Walmart and a Target, so that's where I get all my Lego sets from if we don't go to like Kansas City to the Lego store.
Yeah.
But we do have a spot in our mall that has Funkos and other kind of nerdy gadgets you can get called a Hoover House. And then an hour down the road, we got Hero Haven, and that's my spot. I'd rather go there than Texas Roadhouse, Town East Mall. I'm at Hero Haven. But I love Wichita, and I love getting down there for Hero Haven for sure. So, but yeah, and that's where I found your guys' card at.
Very cool.
Nice. We've got so many questions. I've seen some of your videos on you because you've been going for nearly a year now, haven't you, on YouTube, give or take?
I created the channel in January, and then I uploaded my first video in late February, early March.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, going for a while. I've seen that you've got 2 parts to your entire collection because it's that big. So I've got so many questions already to hit you with. So we'll start off straight away. What's your favorite Lego that you've got?
Man, actually, I think it's this R2-D2 up here.
Oh, that's a good build.
It's nice. I was able to get it for the $200 mark, and it obviously went up with the inflation to $240. And I've seen a lot of places online where it's about anywhere from $285 to $350. So, plus even at that price range, it's just the best build technique, and just all the pieces come together. There's so many little intricate ideas on it, like Luke's lightsaber from Return of the Jedi is like micro scale in the helmet or inside the head, and all of his pieces that come out the front of his body to change doors and levels. Like it's very intricate. So yeah, that's easily the best one I got in my opinion.
Sick. What about your Funkos?
This actually I got the new Max Rebo.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
The Walmart exclusive right here. That one's cool. We have the old one, but actually the one that is my personal favorite is my Chase Cobb Vanth.
Okay.
As minimal as a character as Cobb Vanth is, I mean, I was so pumped to find him, and it took me a few months to find him, but yeah, Cobb Vanth, out of all the
Nice.
Star Wars characters, that's my favorite Funko.
Yeah, we've
That's
got
all
a
right,
listener
though,
that's a
man.
big Cobb Vanth fan as well, haven't we, Jimmy?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Kenobi.
Chris. Yep. So yeah, he dressed up like him at a celebration over in London and looked awesome, man.
Yeah.
So
nice.
he did a really good job 3D printing a bunch of stuff and had the helmet and just looked awesome. So, but all right, well, geez, yeah. So that's pretty cool. So what have you thought of Ahsoka so far? What are your thoughts on Ahsoka? Like, see episodes 1 through 7, and we'll get into what we think moving forward. But just overall, compared to some of the other stuff, what are your thoughts?
I think for me, it all starts with the opening scroll. The sinister red text. You already know something spooky or creepy is gonna happen, and we're already getting that. I think it's really cool how Dave is known as George's apprentice and like the savior of Disney Star Wars, and I see both sides to it. I not to dive too into it, but Disney Star Wars, I still like it because it's Star Wars. I know there's a lot of sequel haters and people that didn't like Mando season 3, and like I get that. Like everyone can think what they want, but I mean I still enjoy them. So I'm already on this Dave Filoni trend for Disney Star Wars, and I just feel like he can't mess it up. So, but it feels like George Lucas Star Wars basically is what I'm trying to get to, because obviously the Kenobi series, we get Deborah Chow. She did good things on it, and then there's some kind of lazy things on it, but I still like the series. But Ahsoka is definitely right up there with Mandalorian in my opinion, but it feels more Star Wars, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, it totally. I mean, I feel like I know exactly where you're coming from. So,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, 100%. We've seen the passion from Dave Filoni at Celebration, didn't we, as well, Jimmy?
Oh, it was
that
awesome.
guy was
The guy's
almost
crying,
in tears.
just taking off his hat and just talking about being down in the he'd be where we were standing if he wasn't where he was sitting, and I believe him. I really believe him. I know in Chicago, everyone wasn't really sold on the Mando because of the footage, but we sat there and we listened to Dave and John talk about Star Wars, and it was like just two buddies hanging out with all this passion. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is going to be so good. And I do agree. I think it's kind of lost its way a little bit, but I'm pretty happy with the direction that most things are headed. So so good stuff. But I just want to give everyone a fair warning. From this point moving forward, we're going to be spoilers. We're going to talk about things that have happened in all the episodes. We're going to talk about what we think happens, any of predictions or spoilers that we've heard. That's all fair game. So if you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, turn this off, come back, check us out on Wednesday after you listen to our prediction after our recap show. So. All right, so I'm just going to start us off, man, because if anyone who's listened to our show knows, I've got the biggest man crush on Baylan Skoll. So I don't know what it is about this character, but he has quickly risen up the ranks as one of my favorite Star Wars characters. And we have he's had no screen time whatsoever, but every time he has a little bit, he just nails it. One word answers, just not afraid to say the truth. What do we think is happening with him? I mean, it just seems like I have no idea. So what do you guys, Jack, what do you think? Where do you think this is going? Does it get wrapped up?
I don't think it does.
Yeah.
I have not got a clue at all, if I'm honest. I was racking my brains over it all through Ahsoka to begin with. I thought maybe he had something to do with the Emperor coming back, but he's in a different galaxy, so it can't be that. It could be something to do. I think they might do a tie-in with like the Jedi Survivor stuff, perhaps. That's the only route I can see them taking. What exactly it is that's pulling him towards wherever he's going, I haven't got a clue. In terms of Ray Stevenson acting, though, every time he's on screen, he's one of those actors. As soon as he talks, you listen. He pulls you straight in. You know, like you said, he's a man of very few words, but the passion beyond the words, and just such a talent, absolute talent. You know, it's a tragedy what's happened. God bless his soul. But yeah, I have not got a clue. If I'm totally honest, I've not got a clue. It's a hard one, and that's massive credit to the writers, I think, as well. Major credit to the writers, you know, and everyone involved. And again, back to Ray Stevenson, you know, nothing's been given away really. It's still a complete mystery.
What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, you know, I really don't know where he could go. I mean, especially, you know, may he rest in peace, Ray Stevenson. It's his character is just now kind of limited due to that.
Yeah.
But I feel like Dave especially is going to be able to paint a bigger picture for him no matter where he goes off screen. But I mean, I think he is actually really going to part ways with Shin, and then Shin is gonna at some point hopefully joins Ahsoka, and maybe that can be like her real apprentice. Not to put Sabine to the side, but Sabine is just not on that level, and I like how she's not like Jedi Force sensitive. As George says, everyone's Force sensitive. It just depends on your talent and skill, but I like that they didn't take that dive into Sabine doing that, because I feel like that's Shin's spot. And you bring new characters in for a reason. And It sucks that Baylan can't continue on. But like I said, maybe we'll see what Dave does. But really, I just hope he's... I want him to be very positive. But obviously, Jedi and Sith, it's all by a point of view. So you could be a great person, but love the Sith's idea of things. And I mean, it's just Democrats and Republicans. It's whatever you see. That's how I look at it. But with Baylan, I really want him to he's just so wise. So I just always want his essence somewhere at all times, whether it's, you know, to Shin or maybe even to Ahsoka. Because even when Baylan told Ahsoka that she can't defeat him, I felt like there was just a huge connection between the two, whether they meant to or not. I think it was just Jedi to Jedi, and he's just kind of tapping into that.
Yeah,
but that's really all I think.
Yeah, there's a few connections. I think the only route they could go with Baylan is to keep the character alive. He suffers some sort of injury and has to wear a mask. But then they've got to be careful that the next actor that replaces him is as good, if not better, because you don't want to nosedive that character. And then sort of what Brando is saying there is the connection I think he's got with Ahsoka, because we still don't know his relationship with Anakin. We know that he spoke to Anakin, so maybe somewhere along the line he's got some sort of connection with Ahsoka that Ahsoka doesn't know about.
Yeah, that would be a really good point.
And that's why he's kept her alive to an extent as well, sort of like a pity thing or like a last minute friend thing or something. But I think the only way to keep Baylan alive is through a mask.
Yeah. There's already been speculation on people like him getting recast and things like that for another season. I know like Liev Schreiber has been one person that I've talked about, and you can see on Facebook and stuff. I don't even want to think about that yet. I want to see, so I guess for the final question with Baylan though, does his story get wrapped up in the episode 8 on Tuesday, or do you think that's going to be, you know, is his story arc done? Like, is that the end of him, or are we going to have to? There's something going to happen down the line? Do you think?
I think, like I said, it would get wrapped up with him dying, done, or it doesn't get wrapped up and he does get cast again, but with a mask on.
Okay.
The character's too good to just leave and be wandering in the universe.
Yeah,
I would agree. So, all right. Perfect. Well, let's get on to our next question then. All right. So I have one last Baylan question. This is who or what is calling to him? What do we think? How crazy? I mean, they brought the World Between Worlds into play, which people, I mean, that was a massive discussion on every YouTube channel, every podcast. We'll bring it in. Will Dave do it? Do we have any ideas? Who do you guys think is calling to him? Is it the Emperor? You know, like, is he calling to him already? Or, you know, there's some stuff online. So I'll let you guys. What do you guys think?
Go on, Brando, you start us off.
All right. Dang, I was hoping to get some feedback, but never. I got it. Going down the list, the Emperor would be cool. Maybe the Emperor could see that Balin is actually driven towards one side of the Force, as Anakin was very conflicted and would bounce back and forth, as it seems like Balin is taking his Jedi training and mixed it with the dark side intuition, but then wants to lead that into its own route. So it's kind of like a different dive into something else that he can create himself. So maybe just that determination and drive could be the Emperor calling out to him. But then again, with them on, something's calling to him on Paradia, and it's not like it's Exegol or a planet in the unknown regions. So that would be cool, but I just don't see that. But for me, I think I'm just going to take the shortcut and actually believe that it is the son calling to him, especially with Ahsoka having the daughter a part of her. And I like some of those sketches too, where it shows the father, the son, and the daughter, and it shows Anakin. It's like half Anakin and then half Vader, and then Ahsoka is the daughter, and then it's always been the son, but recently a lot of editors are putting Balin as the son, which would be cool. But I feel like Balin he's dark side, but he's not dark side. Like, he has those tendencies, but I don't know if he could live up to the evil and the dark like the son did. But I'm in for a surprise, like something brand new. But I mean, yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, that's a sweet theory. I could jump on board, because again, I haven't really got a clue, if I'm totally honest, because it's that much of a mystery. If I really wanted to go crazy and go out there, then I'd probably say it's something like the Leveler.
Oh yeah,
that would make me laugh. As in, he'd go towards it, because we know Balon's powerful as well. But you imagine if you found a Leveler, it killed him, and it made its way onto the ship. That would make a good storyline.
Man, yeah. That would be
crazy. We talked about there being something, because whatever they bring back with them, they're going to have to get all those characters out of the way for the prequel or for the sequels.
Movie,
yeah. I wonder too. This my thought. Maybe is it something to do with like that new Dawn of the Jedi movie? Is this like is this where it starts? Like, is this gonna be the planet that it started on? Because like the Dathomiri witches and the Zepho supposedly all came from that area, this galaxy, and then came over to ours on the space whales. Is it something to do? Is it going to be a tie-in to that Dawn of the Jedi? Was it David Mangold? His movie that's coming out. It's supposed to be like 25,000 years before everything. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe there's a little nugget there. But yeah, I'm kind of just up for whatever. The way the series has been going, I know Dave's got himself a plan, and so, but
they're going to start tying things in, especially with the Old Republic and the books and everything. So,
yeah. All right. Well, so I've got another question here. Unless you guys have something, what's going to happen with Shin? I know, Brandon, you kind of said you think that she might come over. I mean, at the end of episode 7, Ahsoka reaches out to her and says, like, "I can help you." Do you think that's where she ends up?
Yeah, I think so. It's insane how it's your first time on a show, and Balin gets this as well. Obviously, Jimmy loves Balin. But I feel like we all love Balin as well. Just the excitement before in trailers, and seeing Rey at Celebration, talking about things, and him being Gar Saxon. He has the credibility for Star Wars. But his character and even Shin's character, it breaks the internet the first day of the release. And everyone calls Shin Baddie. She's gonna break the internet. She did. She's the goth punky looking space chick. It's nothing from our galaxy. And I just feel like with the hype she gets and the great writing those two characters has, I think a lot of it's gonna fall on Shin with how she can, be part of the Ghost Crew. And I would live to see that, because she has potential as a character. And plus everyone's like, don't worry, I can fix her. She doesn't need to be bad anymore. I'll fix her. So, it's just, it's part of that thing the writers have, where they put their story in, but then they also get input from fans. And you can just type in Star Wars on Twitter, and I'm almost positive in the first 30 seconds of scrolling, you're going to see Shin Ha-Ti on there or Baylan Skoll. So great written characters, and I would just love for her to actually be good.
All right.
Yeah.
Because she's not really bad yet, though, right? She's just following Baylan, so she's not good or bad, really. Like, I mean, she's got the orange saber, which they haven't really explained. So, I mean, she does kind of take out a bunch of those.
I love how you two keep saying that they're not bad. They slaughtered an entire cruise of Republic.
Hey, we forgive Anakin. He killed little kids.
Yeah.
There's so many things. There's so many things you could do with her. I mean, what I'd like to see, I think would be good quality, is a proper, and I'm not one for romance, but imagine if she met Ezra and a sort of love triangle between her and Sabine. That I'd find quality.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Me and you are always on the same wavelength. Always.
I just think like they're selling this brother-sister relationship between Ezra and Sabine, which I still think there's like something there, but yeah, that'd be interesting. You brought that in there. So, I don't know.
I think she could now pick up Baylan's original story arc. Obviously, now Rey's gone. There's still a scope, I suggest. I think that she could just jump into that if it's easy enough. Or, I think the only other thing is she dies. And I think how she'll die is sort of good/bad. But I just think at some point, Thrawn is either going to shoot her or leave her behind, or something's going to happen where she's going to be like, I'm expendable. And that's when we'll see her rage.
That'd be tight.
Yeah,
Sith eyes out of nowhere.
Yeah, because at the minute she wants power, she wants victory, doesn't she? So she's sort of got a goal, but she is a little bit lost of who to follow. And Thrawn's already shown everyone's expendable to him as long as he gets his end goal. So I think that'd be a good little thing. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I like that. Well, that's good.
Using that aspect, Jack, what is Thrawn's, besides getting off Peridia, what is Thrawn's end goal? Because I've said this in our live show a few times. Like, I've read most of the Thrawn books, like the newer ones that Timothy Zahn has done. This character and those characters, I don't feel are the same. Like, I don't feel like that's the same Thrawn. To me personally, the Thrawn in the live action and the Thrawn in the Rebels show, he's more power hungry, I feel like, and more like evil.
Yeah.
I see the one in the books is more like he's just trying to do what he's supposed to do for his people, and he's kind of like the space Sherlock Holmes. But what do you guys think? I mean, is it as simple as he wants to go back and take over, reestablish the Empire, and take over the galaxy? Because that does not seem like the Thrawn that I know.
He knows that the Emperor's still there, or he knows the Emperor's backup plan. We've seen it in Battlefront 2, that the the holocron that came up and said like there's clones being made, etc., etc. Don't give up the fight. So Thrawn definitely knows about that, 110%. Then he knows there's a backup plan. But I think what will answer all these questions with Thrawn is we need to know what the cargo is. Like, what is in that cargo? And I think that will show what his goal is. As soon as that's revealed, and I think that'll be one of the first things revealed in the show next week. I think we'll then know the urgency and what is actually going on with Thrawn. But yeah, he definitely knows the Emperor's gone but not gone. So he's going back to re-establish. And like what you said then, because he's been there so long now, and like he's already alluded to, he's lost so many men. He knows his resources are limited, so he can't be as power hungry. And he's grown up. He's grown up a little bit. He's matured. Hence a little bit of weight that he's gained that people kick off about. It doesn't make sense to me because he's been there a while. It's not like he can go out there running around and keep him fit. So again, to me, it just makes sense to just develop the character. But yeah, I'm unsure of his end goal, but he's not stupid. There is a goal for him. As soon as the cargo is revealed, I think we'll know more.
All right, Brandon, what do you think?
What do you guys think the cargo is?
I haven't got a clue again, mate. It's got to be artifacts or some sort of power.
Yeah, people are talking about it being like undead, like stuff to bring back. But why wouldn't he just have them? Because I mean, everyone thought that the Night Troopers were undead, like Merrick, right? I mean, I kind of bought into that after a few days of hearing people's explanations, and I was like, oh, that makes sense because they look rough. But I don't. Is it something that's like
the only thing is
really a threat? No, so I was just saying. Cause I was thinking like because my theory was like something was going to come back with them that was going to be a bigger bad, and everyone was going to have to work together.
Yeah.
But the Jedi aren't a threat anymore. Like, there's a handful of them left. So, just kind of some super weapon, maybe. I don't know.
With how the cargo is contained, it looks like coffins. So the only thing I could think of would make sense, and again, it ties in with previous stuff, is some sort of dead Sith that they're trying to bring back, like a Sith army.
Oh, dang.
Like back in the old Republic days, they had a Sith army and that, didn't they? But there's so many. Yeah, but there's so many cargo containers. That'd be a lot of Sith.
Well, I mean, if you sit there and you look at the opening scenes of like KOTOR and stuff, I mean, that's hundreds of thousands of Jedi versus thousands of Sith. It's a possibility. I mean, that'd be going deep dive.
But this is another thing now. This is going to blow your mind. I've literally just thought on the spot. So you look at Jon Favreau and what he did with the Avengers, right? And that battle scene where they all came out, and literally you're like, wow. You imagine that on a Jedi versus Sith scale. So he makes it back. They are all Sith. And in the movie, there's like loads of Sith lined up. And then we start seeing all these Jedi appear. As in, Barriss comes back, but she's a Jedi or whatever. Ahsoka's there. Sabine's been trained. Hattie survives and comes back as a Jedi. You've got
Jason.
Luke, yeah. Jason's there. Luke CGI. Blooming. Who else we got? A young Ben Solo there. Good to go,
Quinlan would be available. Maybe.
Quinlan Voss is back. You imagine the scenes in the cinema.
Dude.
Whoa.
See, Quinlan, man, that's my guy. If Quinlan came back, they can't mention him in Obi-Wan and just not do it, bring him out somehow.
It's lining up for that Avengers. I can just picture it now because John's done it before.
Cal Kestis.
Yeah. You imagine the lineup though. You imagine it. I could just picture it live where, where they're like, oh, you're alone or something. And then, Ahsoka's like, I'm not alone. And then suddenly all these Jedi appearing over the cliff. Oh, mate.
Man, that'd be
nuts. I got goosebumps just thinking about that action scene.
If that happened, I'd first.
Oh my gosh.
Screen record this whole thing. Don't lose it.
I'm copywriting that idea. If you want it,
there you go.
If you want it, I want access. I want screen time with these two guys.
Brandon, what do you think's in the crates, man?
Oh, I buy in with the undead Night Sisters, but then again, they would have to be Night Sisters from Paradia that have died, correct?
Yeah.
Because
I would think.
Also hearing the Asajj Ventress or Maul returning with dark magic. I mean that's gonna ruin Maul's arc and how his character ended. Which just from the Phantom Menace alone, you didn't really see him much, but then Clone Wars you got to see him a lot more, and then Rebels you got to see him a lot more. But it had to end the way it did with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Asajj,
great scene too.
Oh yeah. Yep. Ahsoka taking out Marok reminded me just of that. Just how quick it happened, and it was just like, oh yeah, it's over. Just like that. But I've also heard that it's something from Tantus, but I haven't really dove too deep into that. It's some artifacts that like in the Bad Batch when they showed Mount Tantus, and a lot of it was Dooku's some of the stuff that he's collected over time.
Yeah, like Dooku's little thing that he had. Yeah,
because it's I mean, regardless if they don't use that, it would be cool because we got a Count Dooku reference in Bad Batch, so that's just extra Easter eggs and fun stuff. But sometimes with Star Wars, it makes you overthink a lot, for me, anyways, because I'm like, who's this character and what's he doing? Marok, for example. You're like, oh man, that's Ezra, and it's just a dude.
Yeah.
But or even the in the Book of Boba Fett, those the Owls of the Night Wind, the one that Fennec threw into the Rancor pit, and then he finally confessed, and they had the red blades and stuff. People were like, who are those people a part of? Those are Jabba's old army from Boba Fett, and it's they're just dudes, that's what we just find out. But that's what I'm kind of expecting from this is all these speculations, and it's just oh no, it's just weaponry, and you're oh okay, cool. But yeah, I'll buy the like the OG like Night Sisters that like passed away on Paradia. I'll buy into that because I mean I don't really think it could be anything else. But yeah,
I'm definitely curious. I'm hoping, like Jack said, we find out real quick in this episode so that they got a lot of things to clean up.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah, and quick.
Man. Okay, so I guess another question too. Like we know the runtime, right? I think Jack, you posted it.
Yeah.
Probably something that Bestman Bulletin dropped for everyone to find. But so was it 46 minutes? So we're thinking like 40 minutes of action,
give or take. Yeah.
Does this storyline get wrapped up in those 40 minutes? Or are we left with a cliffhanger that leads us into, now this is the second part of this question, are we getting season 2, or are we waiting until the movie comes out before we see Ahsoka and this crew again? So you got those two things. So you've got, are we getting things wrapped up, or is it a cliffhanger? Are we leading into season 2 of Ahsoka, or are we leading into the movie? What do you guys think?
Go on, Brando, I'll let you start with this one.
All right, this is what happens. There's gonna be a cliffhanger. Thrawn gets away. Our ghost crew, or what's left of it, minus Hera, Chop, and Jason, are all stuck on Paradia. Maybe we get the movie because you got to think, Book of Boba Fett has to wrap up, Mando has to wrap up, Ahsoka has to wrap up, or that's what I think, anyways. Is like if you're gonna do the movie, that's gonna be the end of it all. But what they could do is come out with the movie, like you said, before a season 2 comes out. And maybe with the episode with Grogu and he looks out and is able to see the Purrgil in the distance when they're in hyperspace, maybe Grogu can connect to one. And that's how Din Djarin and Grogu can get to Paradia. Maybe he has a connection with Ahsoka through the Force. I don't know if that is way too far for them to have a connection, as like Morgan Elsbeth was able to hear the echoes of the Night Mother's voices through, but I don't know. But maybe, Din Grogu and Din Djarin get to Paradia, pick them up, get in a Purrgil, and they shoot back, and then here's just kind of like the end game Star Wars, and here it comes right now. And so I do believe a cliffhanger for sure. But I would like to see the movie, that way Filoni can put all these pieces together now and then finish everyone else's story after this big installment of everyone needing to come together, and then they go back to their own separate ways, and then each story can be finished off.
All right. I like that.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be all right. That'd be a good way to do it. Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Brando, I think. I think, like I keep saying, and it just makes more sense now, I think they're going to go down the Avengers route. So it's going to be 2 parts, the movie. And I think it would be literally similar to Avengers, but Star Wars, where people are dying, like love characters are dying, etc. I think they'll all get off Paradia, though. I don't think anyone's going to get stuck. I can't see that happening. It'd be funny if Mando did turn up in his starfighter. I was like, oh, going to take one of you back. But nah, I think they'll all get off. I think it would definitely be a movie. It makes sense looking at Mando season 3, Boba Fett. That's sort of not, well, you could say it's wrapped up to an extent, or it's ready for the movie now. But again, with this movie and with it all tying in for everyone else, you've got to look at the actors' schedules, especially Pedro Pascal and how busy he is. And some of these people now in Ahsoka, like Rosario Dawson, her career is going to take off even more. Like, she's done a lot before. So it makes sense for a movie, I think, again, because they're going to have so many actors together, prime actors, and they had the same issue with the Avengers stuff. So yeah, if it's going to be a movie, I think it's going to get wrapped up. I think, yeah, I agree with Brando. It's going to be a cliffhanger at the end of it to lead us into a movie. But I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't either. Especially with Filoni, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, not going to say disappointing, but not what people expected, and it literally just stops dead. And then in the movie, that's when we start seeing the surprises, like, oh, Thrawn did make it, or Hattie did make it. So,
okay.
what about you, Jimmy?
That would be cool.
Yeah, I don't. I'm kind of here. I'm sitting here looking at the notes I have, and we have to remember too that the Skeleton Crew movie still or Skeleton Crew show is still sitting there waiting. And now I would assume that we're a little bit closer with the SAG, or with the writer strike being over, and then SAG still kind of waiting. Um, but does that Skeleton Crew tie up loose ends from Ahsoka season one? And then that leads us into the movie. You know, they have a plan. Obviously, they're probably not going to deviate just because of the strikes and things like that. But I think we're getting a second season of Ahsoka, merely because Rosario Dawson was talking about how she would love to be in a second season, and we've seen these actors try to play off the fact that like, oh, this the season ends and that's it. You know, trying to throw us all off. I think there's still a lot to be because that'd be a lot if they don't. Well, I mean, if they do two parts to the movie, then maybe, but that'd be a long movie to try to bring all that stuff together, all those characters together.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say we get a bit of a cliffhanger, but I think the Skeleton Crew comes out maybe January, February if we're absolutely lucky. Probably not till March now with everything, but which is a bummer because it wasn't supposed to start in like November.
Yeah,
like
Thanksgiving.
originally before all the strikes. Oh man. So I'm going to say that it's cliffhanger. Skeleton Crew is going to answer some questions, and then we get the movie. And I really hope that we get it because I mean I think this is probably going to be one of the most popular next to season one of the Mando. This is probably the most popular show. But yeah, so I mean I kind of think that Skeleton Crew is going to play a little bit into this as well.
Yeah.
So I think we have to kind of jump on that a little bit, and then it'll ride itself out into those movies.
There's a danger, I think, with the Skeleton Crew because again, it's all the young kids.
Yeah.
So you've got to watch how they age, similar to like the Harry Potter sort of thing. But has Skeleton Crew finished completely production? Because I don't think it has.
It was supposed to come out in November.
See, I wouldn't be a massive surprise, mate, if they cancelled it. It wouldn't surprise me.
The whole show?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh dang! Oh man, I hope they don't do that. Yeah.
It's very unlikely, I think.
Because isn't Jude Law's character supposedly secretly supposed to be a Jedi?
Well, he uses the Force, doesn't he, in the trailer that we saw?
I have not seen the trailer.
Yeah, see, I was gonna say because they showed a little bit at the celebration this last year.
Yeah. I'm sure you was in the. Was you in the panel with me? No, you weren't. Yeah, no, he uses the Force.
I followed all the rules, Jack. I didn't sneak around.
Okay, sir. That's not this, Jack. That's not this, Jack. Yeah, there was a trailer, and I think it was him opening a prison cell or something. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, he uses the Force because everyone went crazy.
Man, see,
so I didn't get
to see none of that. I'm on Reddit till like 3 a.m. typing in like leaks, and you get this really crappy like video quality of just people, you know.
Yeah.
And
I'll message you after this because there's a certain thing you need to search for these leaks, but it's not like you don't search the actual word like the Acolyte trailer, for example. They're all name stupid stuff.
Oh, cool. See,
so
sweet.
I'll drop it to you after this before Disney copyright me or whatever.
The Acolyte trailer, that's sick. Like I'm really waiting for people to get to see that because, man, there was.
I think the only thing I've seen from that is just like it's like 8 people and just lightsabers just ignite. That's all I've seen from that. If that's what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, you imagine Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon, but with Force. There you go.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. So
yeah, that sounds tight.
All right. Okay. So our final topic, and this is always a hot one in the Star Wars universe: the ships. Not the ships that Jack likes, but the relationships. So this whole thing starts with the end of Rebels, and Ezra and Sabine making a promise to come find Ezra, and 9 years. I mean, I hate to say this out loud, but after 9 years, I'm trying to think of like all my friends. Like, if you can't get there in 9 years, it might be time to. But Sabine doesn't give up, man. So my question here is, and we talked about this a little bit with Shin too. What's up with Ezra and Sabine? Is it just brother sister romance or brother sister?
It's purely friends. It's brother sister, 100%. We've already seen one brother and sister kiss on screen on Star Wars. It's enough. We've already seen it. It's enough. It's more than enough. Yeah. 100%. It's just a friendship, I think. That's it, I think, mate. I really do. I don't think there's anything else to it. I think even from the very first episode of season 1, episode 1 in Rebels, she was the one that took him in and told everyone to give him a chance. Apart from Kanan to an extent, Hera to an extent, but she did everything for him. She made his room for him. You know, she spread it up a little bit like home, etc. They've always had that connection of a brother and sister. I don't think it's going to be anything more than that.
No, that's fair. I can see that.
Yeah, I see it the same way. Just, they grew up together for, that time in Rebels. So I think it's just more of a brother-sister thing. Because if in that hologram, it was kind of like Ezra was like friend zoning her in a way, just by the way he was saying, like
Yeah.
I think he said something about like how she was a good friend, or how he saw her as a good friend.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay. But yeah, I think the brother-sister dynamic, or just a really strong connection between just them two as like a really good bond of friendship.
Yeah.
Right. All right. I still think that hug was a little too long. When she first sees him at the end of that episode, was it episode 6? They hugged for a little bit too long. But I'm not a big shipper, so I'm fine with either one, to be honest. Whatever they decide to go with. I wouldn't mind seeing a little love triangle, though.
I think that'd be a good show.
Shin in there. Maybe
little
Shin.
throuple.
Maybe Ezra and Sabine are into Shin, Uh-oh. So drama. So
yeah, that's a lot of space drama.
Space drama. All right, so anything else, you guys, you can think about for episode 8, the Ahsoka?
I think that's about it, mate, to be honest. I think we've done our predictions and everything like that.
All right.
I tell you what, actually, do we think any more cameos from any old characters like Leia, Luke, Han? The only one I can see happening is going to be Zeb. I think Zeb might appear, but apart from that, I don't think it's going to be any more.
What if there is? So Hera and Jason have had their time on screen. The first couple episodes, they showed Jason. That was really cool and super quick. When the Eye of Sion takes off, Jason told Hera, he had a bad feeling. Always a good Star Wars line right there. And that we haven't seen Jason since he listened to the waves. So maybe they can touch base with Hera and Jason for a second. And maybe he asks Hera, why do I feel this way, and why can I do this? And maybe Hera is telling Jason about Kanan, and we kind of dive into Hera's mind, and we see a live action Kanan, just to get maybe just that little bit of fan service that we've got, of course, from Anakin, which, everyone had to have liked that. But I think a Kanan would be really cool. But I know Freddie Prinze said that he just wanted Kanan to just be done, and he did his thing. That's it. But at the same time, he's the actor, as Filoni is like, hey, I made this character. So I think that would be really, really cool, as if we just got maybe just a flashback of like Hera and Kanan awesome. Meeting for the first time. Just a little something.
That'd be awesome. Dude, it might be like you said, Jimmy, amazing. As well. How about what you said about saying that the actors are like trying to throw us off?
Yeah, because that was one of our very first episodes. We talked about that story.
Yeah.
And we thought maybe he's just trying to throw a wrench into, because that would have been about the time he maybe have recorded or done something and was just like, I need to get out there and throw some water on this fire real quick. But, that would be, even if it's like a hologram or something, oh my gosh, that would be awesome. Fans would freak out. The only one I can think of, maybe the Bendu.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Not really tied to.
That's a great shout. What if the Bendu is the one that's calling Balon?
That's what I was kind of, it's kind of popped into my head. Because he called to Kanan.
Yeah.
You heard my call, and so
that's a great shout.
Imagine seeing the Bendu live action, like that would be bonkers. Man. So, but yeah,
Star Wars does do good with very large animals and dragons of some sort. The crate dragon, it doesn't look buggy. It looks good. No. So that would be tight. Do that.
They'd be able to have a full conversation, because he could be staring up at the volume, and that could be a CGI character talking down to him, and it could be pretty nuts.
That's a good shout, that Jimmy.
So, But yeah,
I bet
think
that's
all
what it
those
is.
would be.
That's a good shout.
That is way too good to not be true.
So,
Yeah.
and he, Dave loves those characters he's created, and man, I can't think of the guys. Wasn't it? What's the doctor that voiced him? Was it? Man, I cannot remember. So we had a whole episode we talked about is the Bendu. Is it a person or is it a thing? Like, is it a title? Because he calls himself the Bendu, right? So it could be something that's a Bendu. It doesn't necessarily have to be that one, but yeah, I would love to see that Bendu
Tom
on
Baker.
live action screen. Yeah, Tom Baker. I wanted to say Tom Baker, but I was like, I couldn't remember if that was right or not. So thanks for looking that up. All right. Well, I think we have lots of stuff, and now I cannot wait until Tuesday at 8 o'clock for us and Jack at 2 a.m.
Well,
we
next
used to have
I'll
to
be
wait
in
till
Belize.
2 a.m.
I'll be in Belize,
well,
so it'd be normal time for me.
Oh, very cool. All right. Well, first off, Brandon, I want to thank you for coming on our show, and this was awesome. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you on social medias and your shows and stuff?
Perfect. Yeah, well, to end that, appreciate you guys having me on. I love what you guys do. It's a good relief to see other, Star Wars fans, in the circle. So yeah, really appreciate being on, talking some Star Wars, getting nerdy. I love it. But yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube. That's mainly what I do. Clan Brandalorian's the channel. I go over lore, theories, Funko, Lego, more so the Lego and Funkos will be on my TikTok and Instagram, and those are all at Brandalorian66. I'm on Twitter a little bit. I don't use it too much. I just kind of look at leaks, really, just to see what's going on. A lot of where everyone's chirping and where all the chat's coming from. So, but yeah, that's basically what I do. Breakdowns, of course, for all the new Disney Plus Star Wars shows and stuff like that. And I do a small podcast as well. I haven't done it so far with Ahsoka, but basically it's easier for me to get 15 to 20 minutes of solo talk for myself, and I do at some point plan to get guests on and make longer episodes for those who love longer podcast episodes, which but yeah, that's where you guys can find me.
Very cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Yep, sounds great. Make sure you check him out. Again, Explorers, hit us up on our socials, Explore the Force on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Again, appreciate your time, Brando. We definitely have to do this again. Before we close out, we always have little quotes. All right, so we'll give you a little bit of time to think of one. I'll start us off. So for myself then, he's the chosen one. He will bring balance. Over to you, Brando.
Never tell me the odds. Always love that one.
All right.
My first
Very
one.
good.
My first
and
one.
For all three of us, we have spoken. All right.
Awesome.
Oh man. Well, that was a blast. Brandon,
yeah.
thank you so much for coming on.